Good Tuesday evening, Southeast Texas. Welcome to 12 News Plus. We'll take a look at your 7-day forecast and dive in depth at what we think is going to happen over the next 7 days. Looking at cumulus congestus off towards our east over southwest Louisiana. This view courtesy of the Horseman's Western Store and the Roofing 911 Skycam network. Notice how tall the clouds are. Those are thunder showers over towards southwest Louisiana. There's a nice buildup there. And again, these are moving off towards the south, so I don't think they're going to reach southeast Texas, and there's not a big chance over southwest Louisiana at this time. So the weather headlines, not a lot is going to change over the next 7 days. Hot, humid afternoons with low rain chances, and mild nights are expected, lows in the upper 60s to lower 70s, and we're going to be stuck with this pattern, I think, through at least the next 7 days. May see a weak front attempt to move into the area as we head towards Tuesday night into Wednesday. Could increase our rain chances and knock temperatures down, but that is the pattern that we're expecting over the next 7 days. Some good news on the tree pollen. It's down today compared to yesterday. Remember, we had high levels of tree pollen, but ragweed continues at very high levels across southeast Texas, along with medium levels of mold measured this afternoon. So I'm going to go with a 10 to 20% coverage coming up tomorrow in the Triangle under partly cloudy skies. Modeling shows a 40% coverage. I think that's overdone, kind of like it was today. We didn't see a 40% coverage. Modeling had a 40% coverage. So we'll go with our 20% coverage for tomorrow in the Triangle. We'll go about 93, 94 in the Lakes area. Some areas getting up into the mid-90s this afternoon. We think that that's going to be a case coming up tomorrow, about 93 or 94. And again, we'll go with a 20% coverage area-wide as skies go partly cloudy, particularly into the afternoon hours. So again, normally this time of year for tomorrow, the afternoon high is, let's see, 89. So we're going to be 3 degrees above normal. So we coast through the next 7 days. By Monday and Tuesday, it's 88. So again, we'll be about 2 to 3 degrees each afternoon above normal. We have certainly seen, if you remember the summer of 2000, every afternoon there for the first few days of September was in the triple digits. So we have seen some hot Septembers, and we've also seen some wet Septembers. So we'll take this. Boring is good. I'm stealing that off of somebody I saw on my Facebook page this afternoon and evening. I thought that was great. For this time of year, boring is good. We'll take it. Rain chances at a meager 10 to 20% coverage. Could be some surprises, as we always know. It could be more than that, but right now it doesn't look like it's very favorable for rainfall. The big question in my mind is, will we get higher chance? I only have a 20% coverage next Tuesday. Could it be higher? Yeah, as we're going to be watching a trough of low pressure move down out of the southern plains, and that may drag a cold front in here maybe towards Tuesday into Wednesday. So as long as the winds aren't out of the northeast behind it and ahead of it, then we should get some confluence or convergence, and that would help produce a better chance of shower and thunderstorm activity. Right now, that's 7 days to watch that. So as far as rainfall, this is the European model. It is notoriously wet and obviously many times puts down way too much rainfall. Love it because it's good on picking up rainfall, but again, it's overly wet compared to the other deterministic models that I'm showing here. So normally through the next 7 days, we should pick up 1.4 inches of rainfall. Not even close. Below normal. So we're not on the drought monitor yet, but we could start getting on the drought monitor. So very early possibility or very early signal that drought mode conditions could be starting to develop across the area. And if you saw my front yard, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So let's take a look at radar. Yeah, just not much out there right now, mainly off towards our east. Remember those tall clouds I was talking about? We can see them from Beaumont. That's what you're looking at, all those white tall clouds because of those thunder showers off towards our east. Temperatures in the upper 80s to lower 90s at the airports. This view courtesy of Pro Roofing Concepts. Now we're looking at moisture levels. Again, go up the scale. That's where the deepest moisture. Look at where all the thunderstorm activity is. Over towards southwest Louisiana. Why? One of the variables is higher amounts of moisture to work with in the atmosphere. Not a guarantee that you'll see it, but a lot of times if you can measure the amount of moisture through the atmospheric column where the areas of highest moisture are, a lot of times you get a lot better coverages of shower and thunderstorm activity. So this is pretty moist across southeast Texas, southwest Louisiana at this time. Otherwise, across the state, again, you can see the best coverage of shower and thunderstorm activity over towards Louisiana, central and south central Louisiana, and some thunderstorm activity over towards New Mexico and far west Texas. Southeast flow continues off the Gulf, and it looks like high pressure is slowly but surely beginning to weaken and move out of the state and off towards the southwest. Normally, you'd be very concerned because we're at the peak of hurricane center. But wait, I got great news. It's northwesterly winds. Look at the sheer, strong northwesterly winds. It's exactly what you want. Look at the trough out into the north central Gulf. Exactly what you want this time of year. So let's just say, play hypothetical situation. Say a hurricane was bearing into the Gulf. It would not come our way. And if it did, it would get sheared apart because of this upper level winds. In fact, if something tried to come out of the Caribbean today or out of the eastern Gulf, it would be pushed on off towards the north and east. Seen this 100 billion times, it seems like. So the Gulf is basically closed for business through the next could be the end of the month. Certainly the next 10 days I feel comfortable with saying, and I don't really see anything on ensemble modeling that shows anything in the Gulf of significance or the Caribbean through the next 2 weeks. So running out of time. As we start getting into October, the pattern starts changing, and we are seeing this October pattern about 2 to 3 weeks early. So it could be the season is over with. It's possible, at least in the northwest Gulf. Now, I'm not going to say that over towards Florida or in the Atlantic or the Caribbean, because no, it's not the situation. But it may be over with in the coastal waters of Texas. Let's hope so. Still going to wait a little while before I declare that. We want to get past the first few days of October and see how modeling does then. So as I was saying, high pressure is breaking down because of these disturbances coming out of the southern plains. So look at what's going on. Look at the wind shear. This is why I'm very confident we have nothing to worry about through the next week or so. Look at the winds out of the northwest. Hard to bring storms in that way. As we continue through the next 7 days, an even deeper trough of low pressure moves on in. That would bring a cold front. It's that strong. A cold front in maybe late Tuesday into Wednesday. And look at the shear. So look at all these little arrows. They're even tighter together. That means even higher shear out of the southwest. So if anything was coming out of the Caribbean towards the Gulf, it's going to go towards FLA, USA, not Texas. So we're protected there. So if you don't have high pressure, you want to have a trough of low pressure or wind shear. And that's exactly what we've got this time of year, at least right now. So the high away from our area, or at least over towards the Four Corners, this is perfect. Perfect setup to protect us through the next 7 days. Nada expected in the next 7 days. And really through the next 10 days, I think that's going to be the case as far as the northwest Gulf. Now, the Caribbean, the Atlantic, the rest of the Atlantic, that's fair game. But I think we're closed for business in the North Gulf for the next 7 to 10 days. Otherwise, you're saying, oh my goodness, look at all those storms out in the Gulf over towards Cuba. Well, where are they going to go? They're not going to come here. So it doesn't really matter, right? Look at the shear. Look at the winds. They're going to go off towards the north and east. So it doesn't really matter for us. Look how clear the northwest Gulf is. I just want to get us through the next 3 or 4 weeks. Caribbean, shear, dry air, nothing there. And then we got the couple of waves in the far eastern Atlantic. First one, we've been talking about that it's going to turn. And very likely this is going to become a named storm. I believe it's Gabrielle is the next one. High degree of probability, probably tomorrow that this will become Gabrielle. They may skip the depression stage and go directly into Tropical Storm Gabrielle tomorrow. That's a possibility. So look at what the ensembles are doing. You don't see them. You don't see many of them taking it westbound. And if you do, let's see, okay, we'll take the southern track. They're going to do this. Okay, what if it's further to the north? But pretty much all of them, high degree of probability that this is going to turn sometime over the next 7 to 8, 9 days and does not pose a threat to the Gulf. We're in good shape. Now the other one, different story. This is coming off the far western coast of Africa, and it may not survive its trip across the Atlantic. This may die before ever reaching the Caribbean. That would be the best of news. But again, I don't see any modeling that brings it into the Gulf. So like I said, through the next 14 days, 2 weeks, there is nothing coming into the Gulf as far as ensemble modeling. So I feel pretty good about that, at least through the next 7 to 10 days. I think we're pretty much in good shape. Otherwise, that's the tropics. On the Gulf tomorrow, looking at slightly choppy seas around 2 feet, water temperature, 89 degrees. It's warm enough, but with the wind shear, that counteracts the water temperature. Now, I'm very hopeful that this is not a back-ended heavy hurricane season to where they just come right off the west coast of Africa the last few days of September into October. And that's a possibility, but right now I don't see that possibility. And in fact, I believe this was the quietest peak of hurricane season since 1939, if I remember correctly. So we'll take the records. Boring is good. I love that statement. Slightly choppy seas tomorrow on the Gulf around 2 feet. We'll see southeast winds at 5 to 10 knots. High tides at 2:46 a.m. and 11:07 a.m. Our forecast tonight, obviously, starting to see the clouds decrease across the area, becoming mostly clear, going calm in the lakes, and again, could see some patchy fog, not so much in the cities, but in outlying areas. Close to the upper 60s in the lakes, low to mid 70s in the triangle. Light south winds will go calm. Then for tomorrow, I'll give it a 10 to 20% coverage, highs around 91 to 94. Heat indices the mid 90s. Heat or UV indices will be around 8.3, which is very high. And at least here in the triangle, you'll see northwest and south winds at 2 to 5 miles an hour. Could be northwest to northeast, very light up in the lakes area, and a 10 to 20% coverage is possible. Under partly cloudy skies, highs in the lower, perhaps mid-90s in a few spots, particularly in inland southeast Texas. So taking a look at your weather impact 7-day forecast, not a lot of change. It's Control C, Control P, basically copy and paste. 20% coverage tomorrow, and then on Thursday into Friday. The winds just above the surface, more easterly, so yeah, we'll have something, but I don't think it's going to be because of the sea breeze and be air mass type thunder showers. Highs will be in the lower 90s under partly cloudy skies. And then as we head towards Saturday, the winds, and especially Sunday, the winds become almost southeasterly just above the surface. So that is coming perpendicular to the coastline, a little more perpendicular to the coastline. So that causes convergence and lift because of the frictional effect. So could see a little better chance of thunderstorm activity Saturday and Sunday. Now, Monday into Tuesday, what happens? We're going to get that trough moving in from